tooth loose. Need a tighten, no took her to Hermes. Got her items up, what and it fucked up. And a spider home. Free the guy down the road, got a hide the phone. Had my name from the street, not a microphone. Ain't no sleep, she on toot, I took Adderall. Niggas act like they us, but they not at all. Caught the baddest shit that we forgot to call. I put down in my teeth like on power wall. Pretty titties, her whole body sauce off. Hold the back of her head till her jaws locked. I don't care what he do, he a cornball. Extra legs, I'm dressing, I'm stuffed game. I'm the real one, 2 million on pinky ring. Come through pimping like Pinky without the cane. Niggas thinking they happy, they Eddie Kane. I been put on this stuff in my baby frame. Walk around with $1, that's pocket change. Niggas think that you smart till you knock your brain. I done brought the rover like on the flame. Me and Ski trying to see who the coldest shit. If I see you with bro, I don't know the bitch. Extra stuff every time, extra stuff every time, extra stuff every time when I'm stepping out. Put on stuff every time, put on stuff every time, put on stuff every time when I'm stepping out.
8x8, 36, 0 waste, 3 on 3, my type of date. Hardest stuff, I might be late. It's hardest stuff, 8x8. Stuff is stuff is stuff. Stuff is stuff is stuff. Stuff is stuff is stuff is stuff. Wow, breaking the 9. Inside the spot, you know 3 of them mine. Feel like one oak and they one of a kind. 3 of a kind. Put on my ice and all 3 of them blind. I put grease in my soda, I'm trying to get fried. She rocking that out, but she trying to get high. Rubbers on rubbers, I never get tired. Bought her that ice and I know she still lying. Brought number 1 on the plane cause she fly. Brought number 2 a new whip, she got dry. Brought number 3 a new Gucci, suck dick. Brought number 4 a new sticker, she 5. Brought number 5, she not 5, number 5, number 5, number 5, number 5, number 5. Yeah, one at a time. Yeah. Stuff. Wow.
Today, we're going to talk about the loaded college basketball slate, NBA and NHL winners, and of course, the squad ride. This is Behind the Lines. Cooper Kupp might be washed. 4 targets, no catches. The guy ran a half a marathon. I've seen 20 tweets about it this morning. The guy didn't do a single thing.
Yeah, that was a frustrating bagel for a lot of fantasy owners.
Is this what we've become down in Blacksburg? Just complacent, happy to be going about our day and being a moose shit program, celebrating a kid getting 1 point against North Carolina A&T? He better fucking score a point. You're playing North Carolina A&T. He's leading college football, Jovan, in every single statistical category for a wide receiver. Every single one. And you don't give that guy the award? Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. At the end of the day, you got to reward teams for winning fucking games. And if they're in a power conference, they're in a power conference. I'm tired of this big dick swinging contest between the SEC, Big 12, Big 10, and ACC. At the end of the day, you got to fucking reward winning. What's going on, chat? Happy BTL Thursday, episode 623 piece. As always, hold the fry, joined by your 2 hosts, Krabs and Jovan, presented by Bookit Sports. If you're not tracking your bets on Bookit, start today. I promise once you check out the app on the App Store or Google Play, you will keep using Bookit, the best bet tracking app out there by far. All right, go check out Bookit Sports on the App Store or Google Play. Jovan, how we doing? Happy Thursday. That means it's the weekend. Congrats. You made it.
Close enough, yeah. Congrats, we made it. About that time.
Yeah, I wish we could I give you congrats about Boise State on the ML, but I cannot after they teased us and gave us blue balls.
Yeah.
Oh,
that was
disgusting.
A comeback of hearts all the way until a buzzer beater at the end.
They showed so much heart. So much heart. And it wasn't enough. It didn't matter. Colorado State banged a 3 late, and that was the dagger. Oh, I mean, to be honest with you, we didn't even deserve to be in it. With how they looked, Colorado State dominated the entire game. It was never Boise State. It was never the Broncos. Pretty clear. Let's take a peep at the Sharp Report recap and see how we did overall. Not good. 1 winner on the boards. You don't see that very often, folks. And it was Tyson DeGenhart. Great name, even better shot. Speaking of the Broncos, at least he came through. But that was it.
He's goated.
That was it. Oh, I mean, Xavier and TCU, we'll talk about here in a moment. Are you kidding me? With those 2 plays?
Rat meat. You should have got Xavier. That was Moose. I would love if my two most important players on the floor for two of my bets and one of the square didn't get ruled out 20 minutes before the game and as the game started, which was crazy.
Yep, Gucci, that one's on me. Saying we should do a clip for Javon's favorite college basketball square of the year yesterday. What do you know? The guy gets ruled out before the game. Can't make it up.
Sneak flu 20 minutes before the game, which is
Can't make
unbelievable. I mean, that literally refunded probably 15 PP lineups. Just a bunch of two pieces.
I mean, it was really cool couple hours there while you were still playing. Real excited for it.
I know. I was getting hyped.
Yeah.
We got him missing the game, and then Jeremy Roach getting ruled out for Baylor was moose.
We'll
they didn't even John Rothstein didn't even know.
Crazy.
Wild.
So one thing about CBB, they don't have to say shit. And sometimes they don't until the last second. Brutal. Krabs, we got Wemby suiting up in Paris today. Yes, sir, we do, Billy the Kids. If you missed TMA earlier today, hopped on there with Mikey and Joshy. We talked a little bit about that game, talked some prize pick squares. You can always go back and rewatch on YouTube as well. Okay? I kind of like Wemby back home tonight, looking at that Reddit out chart. Maybe it's square. I don't care. I think Wemby drops a 30-piece. Thought it was weird seeing the Spurs only getting 3.5 points in that spot, but maybe it's, maybe I'm taking the bait with that play. 2 p.m. Eastern start, I believe, over there in Paris. Javon, you got any thoughts on that game?
Not too much. I kind of lean your way on the Spurs. I'm just very concerned because Wemby in Paris, it feels like we get one of those narratives every single time somebody goes overseas. It's a little different because it's his home stadium, but our man's definitely right. Vegas is probably going to double in size if he doesn't drop a 30 ball today.
Yep.
It's concerning.
Extra shiny. Gosh. I still like the Spurs. Might not like them enough to play, but I'm seeing them down to +3 now, most places. Maybe the narrative is too strong, and maybe they're trying to bait some people into taking the Spurs with Wemby back home. I don't know. I'll probably sit this one out, but I definitely lean the Spurs.
Peak Sour in chat. Last year was a Germany game with the Pistons, and everyone was taking Killian Hayes, and I think he dropped like a fucking bagel. So
yeah, that doesn't count though. You can't count Killian Hayes compared to Wemby.
Everyone was because I guess he was like he spent some time there. I don't know.
Yeah. It was. It happens. I feel like there's one for all these games. They figure out who it is, and they nuke him. Wemby's a little different because Wemby's Wemby, but I don't know. This is like the perfect time where whoever else on the other side is going to be Curry. It's going to be like the Miles Turner legacy game, and Wemby's going to be prime CP3.
I kind of like the under in the game. The total dropped a ton from that fat opener, 240. Yeah. Now we're seeing that total down to 229.5.
That's a trend, I'm pretty sure. All these international games, pretty hard for points typically.
Bet percentage still higher on the Pacers, Rav saying. Good. Guess he's in the Spurs. Okay. Like the under, I like the Spurs. Probably not going to play it. Don't want to force. Okay. Banana squad ride was cake yesterday. Let's get back on the saddle and cash today. All right, Beast. Do we have a minute for me to bitch about something? Yeah, I don't know. We got to stay locked. Do we have a minute for me to bitch about something?
Of course.
Before we get to the winners for today. Gucci, run that shit. Jovan, I don't still really know how this happened last night. Xavier winning the entire game and then not covering in overtime last night. That one hurt more than most against St. John's. Not going to lie to you. That one stung. That was a great wager for the entirety of the game until we get an OT, and Xavier cannot keep it within the number. They end up losing by 8. L. Hook. Cannot make it up. Well, if that was the only bad beat last night, I'd probably be okay. But then we had TCU, who was winning at halftime, looking great, forgetting how to play basketball in the second half. That was cake. And then we had Boise State giving us blue balls left and right at the end of that game, creeping back into it for no reason after getting destroyed for the entirety of it, and then losing on a fucking buzzer beater 3. That's a 3-piece of bad beats if I've ever heard them. Brutal.
3-piece of moose.
Oh, and if you had Georgia as well, I mean, you might have to take the day off today with how they didn't cover last night. I feel bad for you, honestly. And I had Arkansas. And I feel bad for any Georgia bettors out there to not deserve to get that one. But at least we got the ball to bounce our way with Arkansas. Okay.
Yep.
Jovan, man, I still cannot believe Xavier could not keep that one close.
Yeah,
They
it
were
was
winning the entire game.
Unreal beat on that one, Krabs.
Fremantle didn't score for like the last 5 minutes of the game. Brutal. Ended with 14. Disgusting. Well, chat, we've got some work to do today.
Every time you go to OT with 7.5 points in your pocket, I would never not be confident.
Yeah. I mean, you'd think. But overtime, it's where dogs go to die. More often than not, at least. And we saw that play out last night. Brutal. Chris Paul said that if he was a betting man, he would bet on Wemby today. No way he said that, Ace 4.
Oh, God.
There's no way he said those words. Can somebody confirm or deny that? Because that's crazy if that happens. Yeah, let's move off the cake from yesterday. And let's hop into the winners for today. Enough talking about the Broncos blowing it, the TCU Horned Frogs blowing it, or the Musketeers blowing it. Let's move on to winners for today. Yes, it was in an NBA article. Ace 4 saying, link it. Unbelievable that he's saying words like that. He's going to get in trouble for saying that one. And Wemby just ended with 29 points. Unbelievable. If he was a betting man, he would bet on Wemby today.
Yeah, surely that will not get memed and end pretty well.
Insane. All right, let's move on to the winners for today. Enough bitching about the squad ride cake and the bad beats from last night. Let's hop in. Let's talk about some plays that we're liking on today's slate. And Jovan, I've got 3 college basketball wagers for the peeps today. Let's start out with Hawaii, although this time not on the rock. I'm taking Hawaii on the roads, which typically is not the right move. I really don't like betting this Hawaii team much, if at all, but I typically do when they're at home. Today, they opened up a favorite, last night, they opened up a favorite on the road for this matchup against UC Davis, Jovan. Now they've flipped to a dog, +1, +1.5, depends on where you're looking, but this is one of those spots I care more about the opener than I do about that closing line or where it's at right now. UC Davis looks like the smash spot here. They've won 3 of their last 4. They're at home. We know Hawaii does not play great away from the rock. And they've had Hawaii's number. They've beaten them 3 of the last 4 times they've played them. Why is Hawaii getting line respect with the opener? I don't care if the line's already moved away towards UC Davis. Doesn't matter to me. I'll lock in Hawaii, the Rainbow Warriors, on the road here with that opening line as a favorite. And I'll take them to get this game or to get the win or at least keep it within 1 point. Thoughts on Hawaii's?
I mean, I find it pretty hard to believe you're taking them off the rock, Krabs. That's crazy.
Yeah. I thought it was weird they opened up fades.
Definitely is. I feel like the flip makes sense, though. I don't know. You got some stones taking that one. I don't know that I'm getting involved with UC Davis, but that's crazy.
Yeah, Chad hates it, too. Shit. What do you got today? What's your first straight bet you're cooking up on the slate? Going to the NBA?
Ooh. Going to the NBA, going with the Thunder, playing against their, I don't know. I guess they're one of their nemesis at this point, or however you say it, because the Mavs absolutely own them. They're the thorn in their side, not just from the playoffs, but it feels like every time you play, you're getting the best version of every player for the Mavs. Obviously, now you're not going to get a majority of those players because the Mavs are super short-handed right now. You don't even know. I mean, obviously, the big names, Luka's out. You know, you got Derek Lively who's going to be out. Those guys are going to be out for a while, but they have a laundry list of injuries. Who knows how many are going to be active in this game? If Kyrie sat, wouldn't be shocked. If the rest of the laundry list of players sat, I would not be shocked. I don't really care, though, with the Thunder, who are also a bit shorthanded, but coming back as healthy as you're probably going to get them in this game after, I don't know, just a weird week where they've had guys in and out of the lineup, including, you know, towards the beginning of that week. They played the Thunder without SGA, and the Mavs without SGA, and the Mavs got that win in Dallas. Now you got the Mavs, who are just in such a weird spot right now, and the Thunder, they're not just playing like a super short-handed Mavs team, but they're playing a Mavs team that at this point in time is really lacking kind of shooters around Kyrie to be playmaker. Like, he wants to be a playmaker, and that's especially been his role now that he's kind of had the ball in his hands more, though Luka. It's just, other than Clay, not many guys that are healthy are able to step up in that role, and that's exactly what you need to beat the Thunder. So, like, maybe it's somewhat easy, even though they're laying 2 touchdowns against the shorthanded Mavs team, but I don't really care because the Thunder have really not been putting teams away as they should the past week or so, including the obvious loss when they were shorthanded against the Mavs. So this feels like that Celtic spot from a handful of days ago against the Magic where they finally get one in emphatic fashion.
Okay. You're still laying it and fading some bad news there with the Mavs injury, sure, but I do like that the Mavs just beat them not too long ago without Luka as well, pulling off that upset plus 2.5. I believe at home in that one. Now OKC gets a chance for some revenge. I'm in. Spreads up about 2.5, 3 points as well, up to minus 13. Sign me up.
Yeah, love that they just got their cover out of the way last night. Not just cover, but the Mavs almost won that game. And even though you can still probably pencil him in for, I don't know, 50 points at this point because he's the greatest player of all time when he plays the Thunder, you got your PJ Washington 30 ball yesterday. So I'm hoping that maybe he has a little less in the tank for the Thunder tonight because he's the only guy that hurts them for whatever reason.
Couple things from chat. We got Pega lurking. What's up, East? We got Dead Larry Bird lurking in the chat as well. Krabs cannot believe you're not on Sam Houston. Hey, I didn't say I wasn't on Sam Houston. They just didn't make the Sharp Report 3-piece, right? We'll talk about Sam Houston and the Bearcats in a little bit. For now, let's pivot back to my plays. Let's see what else I'm cooking up on the CBB slate. Would you look at that, Goots? You don't get too excited. But we're fading the Terps today. We're taking Illinois at home, laying 7.5, a big old number against a Maryland team that just cannot figure it out on the roads. I'm going to lean into that angle today. They're coming in off a win. Illinois is coming in off of 2 losses in their last 3 games. I'll back Illinois in a bounce-back spot against a Maryland team that once they leave their home arena in Maryland, College Park, it gets ugly for this Terps team that has still not gotten a win on the road this season. They're not getting one tonight, and this one might get ugly. I think Illinois in a bounce-back spot. I'm buying low on them after a couple losses in their recent games. Buying low after a tough stretch, and I think they bounce back against this Terps team who just cannot figure it out away from home.
Yeah, it's hard to really argue against that ever. Fading the Terps is fantastic, especially when they're on the road. Don't really see why the train would stop now.
Yep. Got to be Illinois today. And I very rarely ever square up and lay it with a favorite against an unranked opponent, but in this spot, I cannot resist.
Yep, okay. Fair enough.
What else you got for the peeps? You got a CBB play for us?
Yeah, speaking of squaring up, I'm taking Eastern Kentucky minus 12.5 against Stetson, who is just a historically bad defense. Stetson is in a handful of categories. They've been absolutely awful so far this season, but Eastern Kentucky is, I don't know, for the offense that they have, I feel like they've been drastically underperforming in a lot of the games against the bigger teams in the conference, and they didn't have a great non-conference either, minus, I don't know, a somewhat decent performance against Louisville on the road where they kept it close and somehow almost won that game. But as of late, they've been super disappointing. So, like, I feel like that's a little bit of the reason why the line, if this was at the beginning of conference play, probably would have been even significantly higher because Stetson's just that bad. But I'm leaning into it now. It feels like this is the time where their offense kind of takes over. And Stetson, not only is their defense historically bad, but they turn the ball over a lot. So Eastern Kentucky is one of those teams that, like, they run fast, they shoot plenty of threes. That's what they do. But they also turn you over a good bit, and they love to take advantage on transition off of that. So if they're playing not only a bad defense that I think they can run and gut all over all they want, and they can also transition some of their defense into offense. So this feels like a good spot for them to finally get right and just beat the hell out of a really bad team.
Eastern Kentucky at home against the Stetson squad that's actually beaten them 2 of the last 3 times they've played over the years, pulling off some upsets. Maybe Eastern Kentucky gets their lick back. I'm in. They barely just beat Bellarmine. They really could not be playing much worse. And they're laying this number, catching steam. Sign me up. I'm in.
Sure.
All right. Let's go ahead and flip it back, Gucci. I got one more CBB play for the peeps, and I believe it is Cal Baptist, kind of late nights against Utah Valley. Oh, it's late night, 11 p.m. Eastern. Sure. You guys know I love betting the Lancers. If you've been following BTL for all 600-plus episodes, we bet on the Lancers a time or two. Probably more than that, to be honest with you. Typically, it's been when they had the Armstrong brothers in the squads. They don't have the Armstrong bros anymore, but this team is getting weird line respect at home against a red-hot Utah Valley squad. It's ripped off 5 straight wins, 5 straight covers, and they've been really good so far this season, and they've beaten this team already once this year. They beat them by 6 only, 2 weeks ago when they played, Now Cal Baptist is catching 2 points of steam at home in this spot after already losing to the squad once, not playing great this season. Utah Valley on fire. This looks like the sharpest spot in CBB today, in my opinion, and I'll be laying it with the Lancers on the ML for at least 1.5 units.
The Lancers, the goats.
Has to be done.
Sneaky love Cal Baptist with you.
You like them today or just in general?
Both, but more so in general. There's always a gritty defensive team, and even though they don't have like their one guy again that's kind of take over, do everything for the team, put him on his back, they're just like a fun team to watch generally.
Yeah, they got one guy. They got Dominique Daniels.
I know they got Dominique Daniels. That's just there's a big void to fill in terms of being the guy there. I don't know if he quite does that, but
statistically he does.
Yeah.
He gives me a little bit of McGee vibes on Liberty a couple years ago. You remember him? Stud Darius McGee, really tiny guards who was just an offensive beast. This kid's listed Daniels at 5'10". He's not 5'10". He's 5'8". At best. He's tiny as heck. And it's not even like he's shooting his way to success here. He's getting to the rack. He drives. It's very impressive. Dominique Daniels is going to lead his team to victory today. He's been the guy for them so far this season, averaging 21 points per game. Jeez. Crazy.
Yeah.
He's going to take us home and respect our coins tonight. I can already tell. Dominique Daniels. Legacy performance. They got a prize pick square up for him tonight? Probably not.
There might be later. Who knows? They put some weird squares out for late games.
Not yet. Fingers crossed, though. Let's hope they put that up. All right?
Yeah.
Jovan, you got one more straight bet for the peeps.
One more. Taking it Chattanooga, which I don't really know where this line's going to actually end up being because I've looked in the last hour and it's been +1, -1, +1.5, -1.5. It's been back and forth for a bit. So don't care. Just took them to win the game against Samford, which I do think Samford, especially on the road, you can kind of notice it. They've been getting a lot more line respect than usual, and not more than usual, but I guess it's a little bit of respect kind of left over from just how good they were last year. So they're not covering these numbers all too often. They haven't been the best team on the road as far as covering the spread so far this season. I mean, only 8 games, but they've only covered 2 of them. And overall, just have not been lights out on the road. So I feel like this is one of those situations kind of like Grand Canyon, even though it's a little later to the party than that. But they're playing these conference games where I think they're a little overvalued on the road, but at the same time, I think Chattanooga is a little undervalued, and they've been really good so far in conference play. And this is kind of a pretty similar situation to last year. Granted, I think it was a much better Samford team they were getting to face last year, but it was kind of their game. It was the everything game for Chattanooga at home in conference, similar spread. I think they were -1, moved from a favorite in that game, and they got absolutely blasted. They lost by 20 in that game. It was one of their poorest performances of the entire conference season. That was kind of at the point where, I don't know, fading Samford last year was sharp for a handful of the early conference games, and then you kind of figured out it wasn't working, so you had to stop. This year, a little different. And this year, I think a little different for Chattanooga, too, because they're such a different constructed team, because now they kind of play Samford's style of ball. Last year, they were, I don't know, had some of the same guys in the starting rotation that could shoot a little bit, but they were a little more tough and physical on the interior. So when you play a team like Samford who's run and gun, chuck up a bunch of threes, if you're not hitting your shots, or if they are, you can't really hold up against that. Now Chattanooga kind of plays their game, and they're more run and gun. They shoot threes. They play with much more pace and faster in transition than they did last year. And I think that's why they've been kind of slowly getting it together here. So now I think they get their get back. Again, some of the main guys, I guess, are still on that team from that game last year. So I can tell you they definitely remember. So I think they're getting a big win tonight.
Back in the mocks at home against Samford squad, who's beaten them 4 of the last 5 times they've played. Maybe it's Chattanooga's turn to get their lick back, like you were saying.
Need to.
Sure. And yeah, that spread keeps bouncing around. That 1.5 number, I'm seeing Samford right now as a short favorite.
Yeah.
See where it ends up closing. All right, 6 hours till tip. Sure. All right, let's go to the prize pick squares, gents. Let's talk about some squares that we're liking today. We got Big Zaz in the chat. I redeemed a Twitter follow from Trent. Never going to follow. Who do I reach out to? Big Zaz, hit me up on Twitter. I'll make sure you get that follow. DM me. I'll open up that DM after the stream today. All right, hit me up. Jovan, let's hop in. Let's talk about some squares that we're liking today. And I had to back an Illinois square, and it had to be Hugh McCroy today, buying low on him, buying low on Illinois and this offense against the Terps. So I don't think they're going to be able to keep up with the size of this Illinois team. And once they start running downhill, it's going to be tough. I'll take Hugh McCroy more than points here in this spot. After a couple tough games, I'll back him to bounce back and take his more than 7.5 points. We're not asking for the world here in a game where I like the over, in a game where I like Illinois. I don't think they're going to have much success really stopping him, to be honest with you. A lot of size in this Illinois squads. And sure, the Terps have Derek Queen, but is Reese going to be able to keep up with Hugh McCroy? I don't know if he will, to be honest with you. That guy doesn't play a lick of defense. So I'll back Ben to drop 8+ points in this one against the Terps.
Hey, I'm all down for my limited volume 3-point shooter, guys. 100%. Yep. It's probably what you need, I guess, for Hugh Kraus, but W matchup for it.
See if you can put the ball in the fucking hoop. We're not asking for the world. Okay? And then hockey square, I'm taking this nasty less than 2.5 goals allowed for Philip Gustafsson. Jovan, very curious to hear your thoughts on this square, but I was looking at the NHL square today, scrolling through the boards. I kind of like the Wilds, and I thought that total was a little bit low. I know the over's catching a little bit of steam, but Minnesota catching steam as well, about 10 cents, seeing Utah up to plus 130. Pretty sure Utah has been a really good road team so far this season, but they've not been able to win games at home. So I thought it was weird they were not catching steam, and Minnesota was catching steam here at home with how well Utah's played on the road so far this season. I think they win this game, and I think we see Gustafsson keep them off the scoring column, I guess you could call it, at least less than 2.5 times. Go look at that chart if you need more reason to back it.
Yeah. I will say, as far as the game goes, the Wild, they're getting one of the best players in hockey back today. So that's probably a reason for the steam, the reason why they're a little bigger favorites. But I agree with the square, though. Utah, I mean, they were pitiful for a bit, more so at home, I guess, because they've still been good overall on the road this season. But their offense was dog meat, and they've picked it up like the past week and a half, and they've been scoring goals. And Gustafsson has been absolutely awful in net, not just like giving up goals, but they've been really bad goals. So, I mean, this square is a crab square at heart.
Yep. Love it. Extremely green as well. Got a feeling he's going to be on his head tonight. All right.
Yeah.
What squares are you crafting up over there, Jovan? What do you got for the peeps?
Speaking of my, I guess I can't even say like too low volume because, I mean, he's coming off like a 1 for 8 games. So it doesn't really apply there, I guess. But a guy with an absurd 3-point chart, and it's kind of steady volume, at least as far as makes go. Caleb Stone Carrawell. What is going on in this chat, dude? No way we got a rabbi coming in here.
Okay.
And spamming paragraphs.
We'll just stay locked here.
That's crazy. I was trying to read what it says. Didn't even get it. It's a Discord invite, but Caleb Stone Carrawell, 1 out of 3 points, 3-pointers made. Look at the chart. Hilarious. He's been at 1 for a bit, and he has not been shooting the ball too well. He's coming off a 1 for 8 game where I don't think the matchup really called for him to shoot that much, which looking back at it was really weird. Now he plays Pacific, who, I mean, if you've ever watched Pacific play, I guess for the past couple of years, but especially I've had eyes on them a couple times this season, they give up a ridiculous amount of not just like open looks, but absurdly open looks from a lot of really bad defensive miscommunications. So Loyola, they're live by the 3, die by the 3. That's kind of what I think has been their downfall against some of the better teams in the West Coast Conference. But against teams like Pacific, against teams like Portland, against a lot of these really bad 3-point defenses, this is where their scheme kind of comes out to shine. This is where you get one of those performances from a lot of their 3-point shooters where it's kind of 3-pointer by committee. So a guy like Carrawell, who's coming off a really, really bad shooting game, you're playing a team like Pacific. I think it's the perfect time for him to finally kind of regress to the mean and have a good shooting day here. So I think a scheme and matchup call for it. Square is absurd. I'll be on that. And then I can't leave without taking Giannis, something that doesn't involve points against the Heat, because playing the Heat, it's a weird situation because Jimmy's suspended again for another, I think, 2 games. Probably going to end up being longer if he doesn't get traded. So the Heat, I mean, with their lineup now, it's pretty much Tyler Hero on the offensive side. It's a lot of Tyler Hero, Khalil Ware. Maybe he's going to start or play big minutes with Bam in the court. They did that a lot last game, and I don't know. It didn't really work out on the defensive end of things, but it's beside the point. They do everything that they can to limit Giannis. That's kind of been the story of Spoelstra's defense against really anybody, and especially now when you don't have Jimmy in the fold, there's going to be a bigger emphasis because whoever gets the big time minutes in the lineup or in that rotation is going to be mainly to stop Giannis, especially at the wing. So maybe Kalel gets minutes there. Maybe they'll bring Highsmith back into the rotation. He's kind of fallen out lately. I don't know what they're going to do, but I can tell you whoever gets that role, because you're going to have at the guard position, you're going to have some of Terry / Duncan, then you're going to have Tyler, then you're going to have Kalel, and Bam, whoever's in that spot for big minutes, their job is going to be to stop Giannis. Not only that, but when Duncan Robinson, who's been getting a lot more minutes now, is in the game, and I think you're going to need that, being that the matchup also calls for it in the offensive side, whoever is on him is going to be barbecue chicken. Maybe Middleton gets minutes there. Maybe he has to switch on Dame, but I think Giannis is going to be forced to pass a lot, which is always the story when he plays, the Spoelstra defense. But especially now when I think across the court, you have way more advantageous matchups and you're going to be seeing Giannis get pressured a lot on the ball. I mean, he's going to be dishing, and I think it's going to be easy pickings for whoever he's giving those assists to.
Well, I just locked in the Sharp Report 4-man. And I dropped the link in the chat in Twitch if you guys want to get involved and tail this 4-man 10Xer. The link is in the chat. Ben Humacroy, Philip Gustafsson, Caleb Stone Carawell. Ever heard of him? Doesn't matter. He's cashing tonight. And Giannis, little 4-piece. Okay, the link is in the chat. Peep Curry 3s. It's juiced to the over, but they're playing the Bulls, so it makes sense. Hoffy, you're probably not going to convince me to take Steph Curry 3s. I'll be completely honest with you. That's going to be tough.
Yeah.
Tough sell. Okay. Jovan, thoughts on the under in the Miami and the Bucks game? Rav is wondering.
I don't know, dude. There's a lot of love for that. I'm just concerned. If you run into because Tyler Hero, whenever he's playing the Bucks, he's going to be pork because home state team. He's from right around there, and there's no Jimmy tonight, so it frees up a lot of shots. If he gets hot, that game might soar, which is my main worry. And they might come close to winning the game. Who knows? And I don't know. I have a hard time placing any under when there's such a advantageous matchup on both sides of the ball. Like the Bucks get torched by guards. If Hero's hot, and they're going to score points. And then whoever Giannis is passing to is going to have Duncan Robinson on them, who's absolute barbecue chicken, or they're going to have Kilo Ware, who's not really there defensively yet. Brooke Lopez is probably going to be Curry on the perimeter for a bit. I don't know. It's kind of tough. I know the total, I think, was moving down because you're getting the Jimmy news, a couple injuries too. Not really sure what to do with it.
If you had to play a straight bet on the Bucks in this game, would you take the Bucks?
No, I'd take the Heat, 100%.
Take the Heat with the points by the bad news. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Somebody in chat was asking, they said they're going to the game boots on grounds. All right. Well, since we're talking about the NBA, we could stay here and talk about the NBA real quick. See if there's any other winners on the board, whether it's prize picks or book plays. The Wizards haven't won a road game in like 2 months, Jovan. It might be longer than that.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
They are 1-18 on the road this season. Does anybody in chat know the last time they've won a game on the road? It's been a while. That's an absolute fucking joke. 1-18 on the roads, and not much better against the spread. 6-12-1. Oh, they're getting 14 points on the road. The total in this game's dropping. I've seen a lot of these Wizards totals dropping recently. Kind of weird. Would you play the Clippers here in this spot? Backing a legacy game from James Harden? Are you buying low on the Wiz kids?
I don't know if is Harden playing.
Let's see.
I know I can't get myself to play the Clippers because I know a majority of them who I think sat out. What was it, yesterday? They're coming back to play. I didn't know if Harden was included in that, but there's way too many guys coming back for the Clippers to make me think about betting them, even though they're probably
you got him. You got Norm Powell. You got Kawhi. Shit, you got Zubac coming back.
Yeah, I mean the whole team's coming back to play in this game. I couldn't tell you why this wasn't the game that they decided to rest everybody, but
what are they doing?
I don't know. I didn't get that, but it's a way too much. It's probably like the most one-sided group of good news you've seen so far in the NBA this year. So you couldn't pay me to bet on the Wizards. It's way too much.
You could probably pay me to bet on the Wizards.
I know I could pay you to bet on the Wizards.
You probably could. Maybe not tonight, though. They fucking suck. What a joke. They got a Bub Carrington more than 1.5 3 square up there. That's pretty red as well, Jovan. I was looking at that one.
Yeah,
Maybe that
I did see
cashes.
that. I could cash, especially because I would assume he'd get a couple more minutes if the game got a bit out of hand.
Yeah, Chad, who are you starting, sitting, or benching? Banana, soccer for the coin, or ASIM?
Yeah.
I was geeking at that during the surge yesterday. People are crafting up lineups of the surgeons, not even the players.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. Trent's got to
lineup.
do that today.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. All right, Jovan. I'm not betting the Wizards tonight. I can't do it. They're just that bad. Maybe we take that more than 1.5 threes from Bub Carrington. That's probably as far as I'll go, though.
Yeah, fair.
Are you going to play anything in the Spurs? This game starts up in 45 minutes. And the Spurs are down to +2.5. Could that just be because everybody's nuking them left and right, realizing that Wemby's playing back in Paris? The more that I talk about this game, the more that I just realize that I just cannot bet the Spurs.
Yeah,
it makes an incredible amount of sense.
I don't really know anybody who's taking the Pacers, or have seen anybody who's taking the Pacers. It's all
not one
Spurs and Wemby points. It's just like
that's it.
I don't know, man.
Yep.
I can't get myself to do it.
Gosh,
but still think it's probably the Spurs.
The Egon match was insane. Couldn't predict that. Yeah, I locked in that 6-man from stream yesterday from Trent. It got down to the last leg. Woke up this morning. That shit was cake. We'll take a 2xer though. Can't believe it even got there. With squares like Zach Edey involved in that lineup. I think pushed, but still take it.
Yeah.
Hilarious. Yeah, Spurs make too much sense for me. I simply cannot do it. If we look at the picket splits here as well, you can see, Jovan, they are a little bit public today. A little bit public. Maybe it's just the under in this game. But that's also kind of public as well. And we're now seeing the total moving up right before tip-off. Not much, but about 0.5 to 1 point. Depends on what book you're looking at. Up to 230 again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not betting that game. If I had to bet it, I would take the under. But I'm off. What about Portland and Orlando? You got the Trailblazers getting 8.5 points against the Magic, who have lost 4 straight games, Jovan. Do you think this could be a bounce back spot for Orlando?
Yeah, just might, honestly. And this feels like a lot of points, to be honest with you, looking at this game, because I know the Heat were not full strength in the game, but even before, like, Tyler Hero got ruled out, they were minus 10.5, minus 11, and then it came down to like -9, and they were still, I mean, that was what they were against them when they went outright, which is crazy.
That is crazy. Gosh. It's got to be the Magic. Coming off of 4 straight L's, Portland coming in off of 2 straight dubs. Now, there's a lot of injury concerns in this game. I'm not going to lie to you. You got Simons questionable. You got Camara questionable. He's been sick. DeAndre Ayton is questionable as well for Thursday's game. A lot of injury concerns here. Cole Anthony was not around the shoot-arounds earlier today. Franz Wagner, he was at shoot-around, so he's probably going to play.
Yeah, I know he's trending to come back. It was just weird because I kind of assumed he was coming back, and they had his interview or press conference like earlier today. He was like looking forward to returning soon. That didn't exactly sound like a guy who was playing today. So it's a little, I don't know, that sounded pretty odd, even though it was kind of lining up for him to play. But even if he does, I think that 8 is still incredibly telling.
Okay. I think I agree. Miami, Milwaukee, you said if you had to play something in that game, you're buying the bad news. You're taking the Heat on the spreads.
Yeah.
Okay. What about Toronto and Atlanta? Looks like Toronto's catching a little bit of steam here in the spots. I mean, they have been playing a little bit better over the last week. They've won 3 of their last 4. Atlanta's dropped their last 2 games in a row. I'll check and see if there's any injury concerns here in this game. Looks like Trae Young expected to play against Toronto tonight. You got Jalen Johnson, who's probable as well. So not too much going on here injury-wise in this game, Jovan. Who do you like?
I don't know. I can't remember the last time I've seen a Hawks total get bumped down this fat, though. That was what immediately caught my eye. It was at 240. Now, I mean, it's started to head back up since then, but it got down to like 234, which was weird.
Damn.
It's like, I don't know if that was some injury situation that we don't know, I guess, and might have changed since then, but I cannot remember seeing that many times over the past, really all season, but especially like the past couple months. And then the Hawks, I mean, they got drubbed by the Pistons yesterday, and their offense looked absolutely horrible, but that seemed a little crazy.
Maybe it's the under. I don't know. The Hawks have cashed 4 straight unders in a row. Might be off. Okay. You're laying OKC minus 13. I'm sure Trent's already splooging against the Mavericks tonight. A couple more NBA games late night. You got the Kings and the Nuggets. Nuggets are laying 8.5 points, catching minimal steam. The total in that game is up to 241.5, up about 2 points from that opening line. How do we think this Kings and Nuggets game plays out, Jovan?
I mean, that line seems absurd to me too, to be honest with you. I know the Nuggets have looked significantly better over the past week or so compared to what they're doing. I mean, they're one of the least profitable teams against the spread for quite a bit. And now I wouldn't say they got themselves out of that hole, but last time they played a couple months ago, it was an absolute shootout. The Kings took them down to the wire. I think the Nuggets still won by 1, but seeing 8.5 is crazy. I would think I looked through the entire board. I think without a singular doubt, the most enticing free-looking play on the board is the Kings plus 8.5. It's like, I don't know that I'm going to get there with the Nuggets, but that seemed like a lot of respect.
All right, maybe it's Denver then, laying that big number. All right. We got a question from chat here, Jovan. How many fans you got up in that big boy?
Just, 2? 2? Just the 2 Chode fans, classic.
I don't know why I think that's so funny. W Major Matt in chat. We got the 2 Chode fans up and moving. Honestly, Jovan, after that squad ride last night, we might have to get those fans up and running.
Dude,
Are they operational at this hour?
No, they're operational. They sound like a jet engine.
Oh, okay.
Or else, they would be on. I love cool air in the room. I love some movement up in here.
Yeah,
I would gladly have them going if they probably wouldn't drown out me talking.
Sure. All right, that's fair. We'll leave the Chode fans off for now, but we might need them.
Yeah.
If we drop another squad ride.
Might need
Keep
it.
that in mind. All right, we got William and Wagers coming in. Can we officially put Julius Pork on the ban list? Yeah, we can. Fuck that guy.
Dude, I want him to hit 0. The thing that makes me so mad is he's the worst 3-point shooter of all time that somehow never gets to double bagel status because he always hits. Whenever he bagels, he finds a way to hit 1, even if he goes 1 for 8 like the next game. I just want him to be double bagel. He's only done that so many times this year.
Well, yeah, that's just even worse that he just gets 1 every game.
I know. Loser. Not every game. He's consistent 0-1, 0-1 patterns, which is so annoying.
Yep. The square you need in Paris is Wemby free throws made. Don't sleep on it, chat. Okay, Adam. Also, TJ going more than his rebounds assists. Okay. I think our guy William and Wagers in chat asked about the Mount report as well today. You don't get that very often. I'm not liking the Mount's chances tonight. I'll be honest with you guys. You got the 11-7 Mount against 8-10 Siena. And you got Siena catching some steam. They're up to -3. I don't know, man. As much as I'd love to back the Mounts, their little legacy run might be over. Probably lean Siena.
Yeah.
Let's finish up the NBA, though, before we get to college basketball. I think we only have 2 more games, Jovan, that I want to ask you about. Boston and LA. You got the Celtics laying 5 points at home. On the road, in the crypto arena in LA. Lakers have been up and down so far this season. They're 23-18 right now. Do you think the spread is where it should be? Or were you surprised to see the Celtics only laying 5?
I think it's about where it should be. But
okay.
I'll tell you, there have not been many days. I don't know if there's been one in the entire NBA season where I have either thought about or gotten to the counter with betting both the Thunder and the Celtics. And that is today. So that scared the hell out of me when I first looked at it. Definitely taking the Thunder, but I also lean Celtics, and I might get there too.
Okay. Fading the Lakers at home. That game's on TNT tonight as well.
Yeah.
What about the Bulls and the Warriors game? I know there were some talks earlier about Steph Curry and his threes. Thought it was kind of weird seeing the spread in this game move from Golden State -4.5 to Golden State -1.5. There's got to be some injury concerns then. Looks like Draymond Green's about to be out again. Were you surprised to see this line moving where it was, Jovan?
No, not really. 'Cause, I mean, the
Okay.
Warriors are shorthanded and playing on a back-to-back, and the Bulls just pulled off a upset of 7-point dogs just about
Right.
on the road against the Clippers, and not the Clippers who rested their entire team last night. So, yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of Bulls love today. I don't disagree, but can't get me there.
The Bulls actually have played the Warriors pretty well in recent matchups, which you probably wouldn't expect on paper. They've beaten the Warriors 2 of the last 3 times they played.
Yeah.
Maybe the Warriors get their lick back tonight. Shorthanded. Okay. All right, let's move off from the NBA. Let's head to the CBB boards because we do have a loaded slate today. It might be a lot of mid-majors, but a lot of great games, a lot of short spreads. And we got some early starts as well, Jovan. We got somebody in chat asking how many times has a team been plus 12.5 one night and then minus 12.5 the next night?
Great question.
Yeah, that's a large spread shift for sure. That does not happen very often. It's crazy. Chew, you like the Bulls tonight? Sure. No surprises there. All right, let's talk about some of these early CBB games, Jovan. You got William & Mary, you got Hampton, who's been red hot, and you got the Tribe opening up minus 7.5, coming off a loss. I know they're down to 6.5, but I'd still would lean William & Mary and the Tribe with Mikey Overs back in his team of destiny there.
Yeah, I do like his system. Fade Noah Farrakhan. I have nothing bad to say about it, especially with Hampton coming off of that legacy win at NCAA.
Yep. You're taking Chattanooga against Sanford.
Correct.
Today looks like that's a 7 p.m. game. Any thoughts on Marshall and Georgia State? I don't know if I want to take the bait on Georgia State again. I keep doing it. I keep losing coins. But I definitely would lean Georgia State in this spot. Again, getting line respect off a couple losses. Marshall's won 3 of their last 4. They've covered every game the last month. I'm thinking it's probably Georgia State, but every time it's like the sharper that team is, the worse they play.
Yeah, they are.
The worse they play.
Incredibly fake sharp team. They're like the I don't know, the Old Dominion. I guess they're in the same conference, but Old Dominion Junior, pretty much. Always somehow sharp and figure out how to play their worst ball when they are. So,
yep.
Lean Georgia State with you, but I can't do it.
Okay. You're laying it minus 12.5 with Eastern Kentucky today against Stetson. I want to make sure people don't forget about these sharp report plays. Let's see what else is looking weird on the board today. You got UNC Wilmington, a team that you just simply can't fade. So you can only take them. It's the only option you have. Getting 2.5 points against the College of Charleston team, Jovan, that's been playing really well so far this season. A little shocking to me, a little surprising. UNC Wilmington plays Charleston very well, though, and these games are typically really good. They've actually beaten Charleston the last 2 times they've played, which maybe that's why they're getting some line respect in the spots. But I certainly would lean Wilmington on the road, only getting 2.5 points against a Charleston team they've had success against in recent years.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with that. I'd probably lean right there with you.
Okay. Our guy Russ says he doesn't even see CBB on Prize Picks. Try refreshing it, my man. There should be some squares up on the boards. Okay.
I don't think so, because I would assume with this slate they're not going to have any of the squares up unless they put them up super late. So dog meat games.
Yeah, not talking about this game in general, just talking about CBB squares in general. He says I don't even see CBB on Prize Picks.
I know. I'm saying I don't think they have squares up for these games because none of these teams are teams that would have squares up for.
Right. Yeah, not in this game, just in general. I think
there's going to be no
squares.
There's no tab if there's no squares.
All right. Let's move. Let's groove. Yeah, it could be in a state that does not offer college. That could be Moose.
I don't even see him here. I was just looking. I don't think there's any up.
I see him, but I just refreshed, and now, yeah, I still see him up, but who knows? What about North Florida and Queens. We've got our beloved Queens catching some steam against North Florida here, Jovan, a team that's been pretty inconsistent so far this season. You got Queens coming off a loss, catching some steam here at home. Could we back our beloved Royals here? They've never beaten North Florida. 0-3 against them.
Yeah, I mean, that game is probably going to be one of the sneakier, funner ones to watch all day.
High total.
Yeah, high total for a reason. Two of the most fun teams in all of mid-major ball, two of the fastest teams in all mid-major ball. So I know Queens has been sneakily getting ridiculously hot until that FGCU game. So now is probably their bounce back after that.
Yeah, I like Queens in the spot. I think they're a pretty good parlay piece as well. If you don't want to lay the 4.5, they're catching about 1.5 points of steam. Okay. Let's see what else is looking at us funny on the CBB board, guys. I do lean Siena. You won't see me fading them out, but I think that's a pretty darn good look today, Jovan. And I think you could probably agree seeing this dog shit Siena team, no pun intended, because I think their mascot is the Mastiffs or something. They've been dog shit, but they're laying 3 against the Mount, who have been solid. They've beaten teams like Miami this season. That's pretty weird.
Yeah, I don't know. This might be time for the Mount to shine on the road.
I hope it is, but I'm not getting too confident looking at that spread. Thought this should be closer to a pick 'em with how the Mounts look so far this season. But they are coming off of 2 losses, so maybe the books are adjusting. What about Delaware and Hofstra? Another solid mid-major game. 2 teams over 500. Hofstra have been struggling of late. Delaware has been on fire. They've won 4 of their last 5. I've been pretty impressed by this Delaware team. Did not expect them to be above 500 at this point of the season. I thought they would struggle this season. Could be a good spot to fade them, sell high, and back Hofstra here at home. The Pride laying 3.5 points after they've been struggling the last week or 2.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it at all. Definitely feel a little weird that it seems to be the Twitter sharp POD on a short slate.
Really?
I have no issues going to it. Hofstra's goated. Perfect time to do it.
Pax picks, yes, your Miami team is like a next level dog shit this season, but you still can't lose to the Mount. That's still just an atrocious loss. I mean, come on.
Yeah, for Siena, I mean that's a program defining win.
Yeah, for the Mount, you mean?
Or for the Mount, sorry.
Yeah, that's literally. My pops called me up and was like acting like it was Christmas Day. I think he was happier about that than he was his Christmas presents. It was like an unbelievable day. Let me ask you about Wichita and Memphis, Jovan, because you got Wichita is playing pretty good ball, 11-7 up to this point. I wasn't that high on them this season, but of late they've struggled, finally coming back down to earth. They've lost 4 of their last 5. They're playing against a Memphis team that has been playing pretty solid so far this season overall. They're still ranked. They've had a couple bad L's, but they've been treading above water overall this season. They're laying a big number against a Wichita team that typically gets line respect, but today they're really not. I was kind of with Mikey Overs in this spot, Jovan. I kind of wanted to play Memphis.
You know who Wichita is, Krabs? They're the Ohio State of the American.
Ooh.
Whatever they're sharp, I don't know, to take them as short favorites or short dogs, they have absolutely shit the bed. I mean, not just this year a handful of times, but going back a couple years too. And then just whenever you want to count them out and they look like they're dead, they'll pull a performance like this on the road against a team they have no business competing with out of their ass. And they're probably going to make this one weirdly close. Yep. I kind of think it's Wichita.
Okay. I can't get there, but I mean, look, they have been playing Moose of late, so maybe you're buying low on them in this spot on the roads.
It's not like Memphis has been playing any better, though. I mean, they've been winning, but they've been skating by against a lot of very similar teams. So I won't even have to position it like that. But yeah, Wichita's an odd team.
Okay. Now we get to Sam Houston. You got Middle Tennessee entering this game, winning 4 of their last 5 games, 13-5, Jovan. They head to the roads to Huntsville, Texas. I don't know where that is or how close that is to you guys down in Dallas, but
middle of nowhere.
Middle bumfuck nowhere. And Sam Houston's only getting 1.5 points here, and they're sitting at 8-11 this season. They've lost 4 of their last 5. I think it's got to be the Bearcats, who, by the way, have beaten Middle Tennessee the last 2 times they played them last season. They swept them, but they haven't covered a game in over a month. They're 3-13 against the spread so far this season. They're coming off a couple bad losses to Jacksonville State and Kennesaw State, 2 games that, in my opinion, this trending Bearcat squad should be winning at least one of those 2 games. I think they bounce back here at home and they get a big-time outright win against Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, it's hard to stay now. That line absolutely stinks.
Reeks. Absolutely reeks. Yep. For some reason, Wichita just fights with Memphis. That boy Co saying, yeah, he likes
they do
Wichita
fight
with you
them
as well.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, give me Sam Houston. I'll have them on my cards. Another interesting play that I heard Mikey and Josh talk about, Jovan, on TMA earlier, South Dakota, North Dakota. The Battle of the Dakotas. They've got this system running on TMA right now where they just lock in the highest total of the day every day in CBB, and they go about their day. This one today is the highest total of the day. You're telling me South Dakota and North Dakota should have the highest total of the day in CBB, sitting at 176?
Yeah, they probably
What are these
should.
teams? Are they morphing in the NBA? In the NBA squads? Well, if you look
yeah.
at how these teams play, they don't play like a defense. Like they can't, especially South Dakota. They give up over 100 points like it's their job. Terrible defense. And these
Really
teams
bad.
obviously like to run. They shoot the 3 ball a ton. You like the over with the TMA boys?
Nah, I can't take that over. I'll let it splooge.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right.
There's something about South Dakota. Whenever they play North Dakota, even though like it's always like a super high total game because South Dakota's defense, I think, is worse this year than it's been for a handful of years. But they always let North Dakota score. But something matchup wise with North Dakota's defense against them usually hangs up pretty well. So I'm not sure, especially now, if they'll be able to score at a comparable clip and keep up.
I also kind of lean North Dakota in that game, moving up from minus 2.5 to minus 3.5. Okay. All right. Anything in Tarleton, Abilene Christian?
God, no.
Okay. What about Seattle and UT Arlington with a short spread?
Banger game, sneakily. Not really, but be a physical game at the very least. Probably lean UTA if anything, but probably will not get there.
UTA has lost and not covered 4 games in a row. Seattle has won 3 games in a row, and they've covered 3 of their last 4. I wouldn't mind taking UT Arlington here at home and fading Seattle, a team that historically does not respect points.
No,
they don't. Those sons of guns. What about the Tommies and Omaha? 2 sneaky good teams in the Summit.
Really good teams. Some of the hottest teams in the conference.
Yeah, both these teams are on 5+ game win streaks. They're on fuego right now. You got to lean in this game. Looks like the Tommies are laying 3.5 on the road.
Yeah, definitely with the Tommies. I know that line's been slowly creeping up as we get through the day here, and don't think it's without any reason. I think if there's a team out of the 2 that are overperforming a little bit from what they actually are, I think it's Omaha. So against the team that's going to push the tempo against the defense that's had its struggles, probably going to be them.
Okay. The Tommies getting a big time win on the road. I could see it. You got any thoughts on Grand Canyon and Southern Utah? Thought it was pretty weird seeing Grand Canyon only open up, -9 in this game?
Yeah, I do wonder just how much of that is, I don't know, Vegas kind of adjusting in some of these games to GCU, even though I know they've figured it out as bigger favorites the last 2 games. And I've been kind of looking at those games and I wanted to get involved, and I'm very mad that it didn't. So I don't know. I don't know what to do with this game. I don't want to take GCU because I really don't want to do that at any point throughout the year because they're typically overvalued, but maybe lines makers are starting to figure it out just a bit.
Okay. I'm on Hawaii late night chats. If you're looking for another CBB play, another good CBB game tonight, App State, Arkansas State. After dropping a couple games, Jovan, Arkansas State looks like they're back on track. They've ripped off 3 straight wins, but they have not been outplaying App State, who's been winning and covering. I think they've won every game and covered every game the last month. They've been playing really good basketball, probably looking like the best team in this conference right now. We'll see how long that lasts, because Arkansas State's up to -7.5. And I was thinking about maybe playing the Red Wolves.
I wanted to play App State so bad.
Shit.
I just didn't want to take. I don't want to fade our Red Wolves, Krabs, because I think they're absolutely legit. And if App State wasn't as red hot as they were coming into this game, I probably would have pushed the button. The thing that I'm interested to see is just how well Arkansas State scores against App State, because the thing that's been getting hot lately about App State is certainly not their offense. It's been their defense. And weirdly, like, they don't shoot too many of them, I guess, outside of last game, but like they've been super efficient for the three, which is crazy. And probably got to come to an end at some point soon. They're playing good, just strategic, fundamental ball right now. It's like, if you want to slow the Damie down against Arkansas State, if that works, that game could be really, really tough and close.
Yeah, it's a weird matchup. You got big physical App State, who's been shooting the rock well, but really leaning on their defense of late against I think, pretty good offensive Arkansas State squads. Laying 7.5. I thought that was a pretty big number. I want to back the boys tonight at home, but you're saying you like App State, you like what you're seeing from them. I'll probably stay off.
I don't know that I'll get there. So, I mean, tip your cap to that if you want to take Ark State, but I don't know. That game gives me some strange vibes.
You got any thoughts on San Fran St. Mary's tonight?
Not too much. I mean, San Francisco is always in sharp spots, and the second they're not, they look like the greatest team of all time. I would assume, looking at this line against two teams that are, I don't know, I wouldn't say equal, but viewed on relatively even footing. You see a fat line for St. Mary's, and you say this is the game that they come out and absolutely dominate with their defense, and then San Fran comes out looking like the Warriors. No pun intended. So, would not be shocked if it's them again. Ohio State situations.
I thought it was weird seeing Idaho only getting 3.5 points against red hot Northern Colorado. Could be time to go back to the Vandals. I know it's not our beloved Idaho State, but the Vandals probably should be getting more points than only 3.5 at home against NoCo right now.
Yeah, definitely should. NoCo's a wagon, dude. A wagon. They're so good. I do not understand why we're only seeing 3.5 points. Maybe it's incredibly telling. Wish they were playing this in the Kibby Dome.
Yep. It's got to be the Vandals. Do you have any opinions on the Terps versus the Fighting Illini tonight?
Yeah, I mean, you will not catch me on Maryland on the road, maybe ever, but I don't know that you'll catch anybody else doing that either. It's the only scary part of that. But
yeah,
I'm right there with you. I'll fade him until it doesn't work anymore, especially against a team that is as fundamentally sound on the defensive side of the ball as Illinois can be with the guards.
Yep. Although I think it might be more of an offensive game today, looking at that total moving up.
I mean, it will to a degree. It's just like you need a couple big stops to make the difference in the game, which I have a hard time believing is going to come from Maryland.
Yep.
It's more so
that team, they forget how to play basketball on the roads. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Let's hope they do the same tonight. You talked about a square for Loyola Marymount tonight, Jovan. They're laying 6.5 on the road against Pacific, up from -5.5. Are you looking to play them or just take the square?
I don't know if I'll play them. It's a weird game on the road where I know they're going to be shooting. I mean, granted, anytime Loyola Marymount takes the court, you know they're going to be shooting threes. They're live by the three, die by the three, and you get a really bad three-point defense in Pacific. The question is, how well does that take you for 40 minutes, which I'm not incredibly convinced will lead to a sweat-free, what do you need, 7-8 point win plus against Pacific. So if they don't come out shooting lights out, I would not be surprised Pacific is really frisky in that game.
Okay. I could see it. Probably should be getting some more points. Trying to make sure we have all of our bases covered here. Looking at some of these late night wagers. I do not want to let Cal Baptist get swept. I'll let you guys know once again. Loving the Lancers against red hot Utah Valley tonight at home. Back in Dominique Daniels and co. and Cal Baptist. Love that play. Do you love anything in Washington State, Santa Clara tonight?
It just might be a square over, Krabs.
Really?
To be honest with you. Yeah.
Okay.
Might have to be. That's I don't know, another one of these games that's sneaky good. Got great guard play on both sides of the ball. And you know Santa Clara is probably going to find some way to fold late game, just like San Francisco always does, and bigger matchups, sharp spots. I don't know if you'd technically qualify that as a sharp spot. Not really, but they're probably going to find a way to fold late in the game. The guards are going to be going band for band on either side of the ball, and I don't see much stopping them in the paint on either side of the team. Might just be points. Not a complicated angle because both those defenses are moose.
Yeah, we got scores on both sides of the ball, both squads. Alpha Ball, Tilly. I could see these guys kicking up today. They'll probably find a way to blow it on the spread, sure, and they'll win by 1 or 2. I do lean them on the ML. Thought they were getting some respect, but they are at home, and they've been a solid program in recent years. So maybe they deserve that line respect now. And they've won 4 of their last 5. Okay.
Sure.
All right. Anything in UC Irvine versus UC Riversides? UC Irvine, low-key 17-2, Jovan, on fire.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Elite team.
And they've beaten UC Riverside 4 of the last 5 times. They're also catching steam on the road. If they weren't catching steam on the roads, I'd be more inclined to back Riverside. I'd probably still lean the dog here at home with how hot UC Irvine has been, but seeing them catch steam on the road, I'm probably good.
Yeah, especially after UC Riverside has pulled off an upset as a near double-digit dog at home against another really good team in UC San Diego last time out.
Okay. You want to talk about any other hockey plays before we get to the squad rides? I want to make sure we give you the floor here if there's any other plays on the ice that you were liking today. And we didn't talk about many.
Yeah, I don't care for the hockey slate too much today, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I mean, the one play that instantly grabbed my attention was the Red Wings, who have been absolutely pitiful after looking like they were getting it together, and now their offense forgot how to play, and now Patrick Kane is going to be out tonight. So you would think, how are they even minus 130 against the, I don't know, darling Habs now that have won a bunch of games in a row? So I only hesitated because I was waiting on that Kane news. Looks like it finally dropped, and what do you know, the line didn't seem to have moved pretty much at all, which I thought was really interesting. So the Wings are certainly on the Krabs side of the hockey today.
I mean, yeah, up to minus 130, losing 4 of their last 5 games against the Red Hot Canadians. Yeah, I could be convinced.
Yeah, that's definitely the most incredibly off-looking line today by a significant margin.
No Flames today against the Sabres.
Yeah, the Sabres are just such a bad product. So I would assume Wolf might be in net tonight. So I'm always inclined. It's just that seems it always. I find it really hard to press the button a lot of times when you're getting like minus 130 to minus 150 shortish lines when you're taking a team at home against the Sabres. It's too easy of a button for me to push.
Do the Caps look like too easy of a button to push? On the road, laying minus 140 against the Kraken, who've been playing good hockey of late.
Yeah, absolutely. I know the Kraken have been playing good, but I wouldn't say great because, I mean, they've been taking advantage of some really bad teams. So, like, you beat the Sabres at home, big whoop, a couple of times. You beat the Pens. I don't know, they're in shambles. They got the most fortunate scheduling spot of all time against the Kings. You know, granted, that was also at home. But other than that, they've still been really bad. So I know, depending on who you have in net for the Caps tonight, that looks like probably the easiest bet on the slate.
It's kind of what I was thinking. Worried me a little bit. You won't see me fading the Caps. They might just be a team of destiny, but certainly would lean the Kraken in that spot.
Yeah.
Looks like we got Canadian Goots in the chat. Pens over, Canes minus 1.5, and Senators ML he likes. Okay. Senators are catching 50 cents of steam against Boston today. The hell's up with that?
I would assume there's some personnel news on that because the Bruins the Bruins are off a back-to-back. They just got destroyed yesterday, scored the first goal, did nothing since. They pulled Swayman, I assume, so he could start today because he's getting drilled, but they don't really have another option. So if that's the case, I mean, definitely makes sense line-wise what's going on in that game. Still fat, though, minus 160 on the road in Boston.
Okay. What about the Canes minus 1.5?
I mean, yeah, that's kind of a ridiculous price.
A ginormous number.
Yeah, Blue Jackets dominated the Leafs yesterday. Granted, they still are on a back-to-back, and I think you're you're going to get Tarasov today, obviously, but Canes minus 400 is insane.
All right. What about Utah and Minnesota tonight?
Yeah, you talked about that game. The Gustafsson goals allowed square when he's been absolutely awful. I mean, not only that, but Utah's offense has looked great recently. And then you got on the other side the Wild, getting Kaprizov back today, I think, there's a couple other players I think are potentially coming back for them as well. So first time they've got any good news whatsoever. So would not mind an under in that one. Sneaky, sleepy spot, I guess.
Ooh, okay. We got a late night hockey game tonight, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Looks like the Predators are finally starting to catch fire, Jovan. They've won 4 games in a row, and they're catching some steam as well against the Sharks, who have lost 4 games in a row. Any thoughts on this late night hockey game?
Well, so that one's weird because the Preds, I don't know if you saw their last game, Krabs, but the Sharks were dominating them because this is 2 in a row here. The Sharks were dominating them, and then somehow the Preds came back to not only win the game but end up covering on a miracle on the puck line in a game that ended 7-5 last time out. So I would love to say the Sharks maybe finish this one off, at least as far as the puck line goes, and makes it close. But I don't know if I have the strength in me to push that button. I know they have Askarov in net now, I assume, and last game was not him and probably wouldn't have been his fault anyway, but you got to think they get a better effort in San Jose in the Shark Tank.
Okay. Biggest comeback in franchise history.
Yeah.
Club Sports is saying. Jesus. Okay. All right. Any other hockey plays you guys like in chat today? Gents Club Sports says Preds roll. Ooh.
Yeah.
Who's scoring
if you
for the
want to
Heat?
take them.
Yeah, good luck. Who's scoring for the Heat tonight, Jovan? If you had to take one guy on your Miami Heat with no Jimmy Butler, you taking your guy Bam? You taking somebody else on the Heat tonight?
I mean, I don't know if I have it in me to take anybody other than Tyler Hero, dude. I don't really know if it is or if I do. Him and Nikola Jovic. I mean, Jovic has been a little too hot for me to take, but Hero is quite literally playing the team that he loves to be pork against, and very few and far between them. The times he played the Bucks, he's gotten the opportunity without Jimmy, and when he does, he literally turns into the greatest player of all time, or at least thinks he is. So if we can get a Hero attempts line at the very least to get up on the board sometime soon, we'll gladly get involved. And there it is, up on the board now.
Yeah, they got his 9.5 threes attempted. That's a ton.
Fat.
Yeah, but Red in his last 2 games could be a decent look. Okay. Let's see. Krabs, have you looked at Halliburton threes? Cole Trains is asking. Starts in 10. I have not, but I will happily look at it. Whoa. Red is ma. 30,000 people are taking it, though. You think they're fading Tyrese Halliburton in this game?
Yeah, for sure fading.
I wouldn't mind a little Hallie love.
Is that your
2.5 3-pointers made?
Your afternoon square?
Yeah. Are there any other squares in this 2 p.m. Eastern game? Spurs, Pacers over there in France that you wanted to take?
Not really, but we could find some.
Okay. I'm looking at Halliburton, 2.5 3-pointers made. I've got that Hero square. Is more than 9.5 3-points attempted in there as well. I know that's a later game, but could pair it up. Let's see if there's anybody else on the Spurs we could take. Let's see. No CP3 today, 2 green.
Probably 2 green, yeah.
2 green, yeah. Somebody in chat's asking about the over in the Spurs game. I kind of like the under. I'll be honest. I remember somebody in chat talked about Wemby free throws. I think that was Adams Got Wales. Whoa. Look at that chart, dude. More than 4.5 free throws made. They're going to be hacking today, huh?
It's definitely up your alley, Krabs.
There was one more square from Adams Got Wales as well that he talked about. He said, I'm also taking this guy RA. Looks like he's saying he's had 5 or more free throws both times he's played him. Okay.
That makes sense then.
Shit. McConnell, dudes. Sure. TJ McConnell's. That one I'm not really in a rush to take, but I'm sure it'll cash. Rebounds and assists. Okay. Take a look at Wemby dunks from Esto. I already have that Wemby free throw square in there, but I'll take a peep at it real quick. 2 dunks. Not loving that square much. Texas State or Sacred Heart spreads. -6 system play from Nerfy Chads. A lot of interesting angles in the chat today. That's for sure. I don't know who I like in that game, Nerfy Chads. Let's see. Well, I probably wouldn't want to play Texas State against the Raging Cajuns, so maybe you go Sacred Heart. All right, Jovan. Well, we can get to the squad ride here in a moment, but I do want to craft up this lineup or finish crafting it. Right now, I got Halliburton more than 2.5 3-pointers made. I got Wemby more than 4.5 free throws made. And I've got that Tyler Hero 3-point attempt square in there as well. Could just send a 3-piece, or we could get another square involved and make it a 10Xer.
It's a great question.
I've already locked in the Sharp Report 4-man as well, or else I'd say we could bring one of those gentlemen over here.
Right.
There was an interesting 3 square somebody brought up earlier that I'm trying to find.
In the NBA?
Yeah. I think it might be gone.
Jalen Williams has a 3 square today?
Yeah.
The big man one?
He does.
I guess both of them do.
PJ Washington was one from chat that I liked earlier, but it goes against your OKC.
Not really, because I know he's coming off of a 30 ball, but he only hit 1 3, and he's legit the only guy that turns into the greatest player of all time when he plays OKC. I mean, he might be in 2, he might be in more than that.
You like points in that OKC game?
Not really, but it's mainly because outside of Kyrie and PJ Washington, I think, assuming Kyrie plays, I think the Mavs are going to have a pretty tough time scoring otherwise.
Okay. All right. Why don't we lock in this 4-man then and get PJ Washington involved? We'll take his 1.5 3-pointers made. Lock in a 4-man with Wemby, more than 4.5 free throws made. Tyrese Halliburton, more than 3s. I believe there was one more square as well. Yep. Tyler Hero, 3-pointers attempted, more than 9.5. Okay. I'll drop the link to that right now in the chat if you guys want to get involved. A lot of 3-point action today. A lot of 3-point action. Russ, I like that Carrington 3s made as well. I do like that square, but I think I need to see it first with my guy Bob. He's been moose shit. Terrible.
Yeah.
All right, Billy. The link is in the chat if you want to tail on Twitch. I think right now it's about time to get to the squad rides. You gentlemen ready to craft?
Let's do it.
Get to it, Gootsy. Run that shit. I want to see that damn train. All right, chat. Squad rides, we're getting on fire. I think we won like 4 or 5 in a row before we caked last night with Boise State. Let's get back on the saddle and let's cash tonight's squad ride. Let's lock the fuck in. Let's click the right buttons as always. Let's find some winners. Okay?
Let's get them.
Jovan, I really, really like Cal Baptist in Illinois.
What a man.
I want to see what the juice is on Cal Baptist right now, though.
Yeah, check that puppy.
Let me check the juice. Minus 150. You think that's too juicy or no?
No, it's your call, your play.
It's a winner. We're putting it in there.
Put
If
it
you
out.
guys think it's too juicy, you don't have to take it. You can vote for one of the others. Cal Baptist, ML, Illinois, minus 7.5. Now I'm looking at your plays, Jovan. I like all three of them. What are you thinking?
I mean, it takes a certain level of confidence to get me to bet on the NBA GOATs. So really anytime, if I have the Thunder or Celtics on the Sharp Report, I will 9 times out of 10 tell you that's my favorite of the three.
Yep. Kind of what I expected. You want to put the Thunder in that puppy?
Yeah.
Think they're up to 13.5. Let me check the Carfax on that, though. Yeah, they are. That's okay. Thunder minus 13.5. Could keep it to quality over quantity, or we could involve one of these CBB plays as well, Jovan. Up to you. I'm going to take a peep at the NBA board one more time as well here. Make sure we're not letting anything slip through the cracks.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't want to play any of those. I do lean the Nuggets, but I'd probably rather take Eastern Kentucky or Chattanooga. Probably Eastern Kentucky, if you're good with that.
Yeah. I was going to say, Eastern Kentucky is definitely my favorite of those other two.
Okay. Looks like they're still minus 12.5. Why don't we put that puppy in there and run the squad ride poll? 4 plays, 4 winners for tonight, guys. Thursday night, let's fucking cash. All right, let's get in our bag. Let's get in our duff here. Let's cash the squad ride tonight, please. All right, after an L last night. Let's get back in the win column here. Cal Baptist ML, Illinois minus 7.5. You got the Thunder minus 13.5. And Eastern Kentucky minus 12.5. Back in some favorites today.
Yeah, just a bit.
Trip Mista, please vote. Please click the right button. The sell job you heard today that resonated the most. The play you heard us talk about that you fell in love with today. That's the one you got to click. All right? And W new follows coming in as well during the stream. Really appreciate all the new follows. We are live on YouTube as well at Bookit Sports. We've got other content over there. If you want to check it out as well, we're going to record a pod for the NFL games later today. That's going to go up on the YouTube page probably tomorrow, going over the conference championship series. Okay, the 2 games for Sunday. So make sure you guys check that one out on YouTube as well. Make sure you guys get your Bookit hats. If you have not gotten your hats already, now is the time to get involved. All right, before they sell out, we got the Bookit scripted hats, a couple colorways. Get involved. We'll drop the link to those puppies real quick. I think I have the link, Gucci. I can drop it for the people in the chat. I got them. Here it is. Yep. Got them. If you guys want to get a hat, I'll drop the link in the Twitch chat. Boom. Get involved. All right. Support small businesses. Purchase a Bookit script hat. Get involved. All right. And hey, you can rock that out to the bars this weekend or whenever you get them. They look fresh. All right. Get those votes in chat. Looks like the Thunder are out to an early lead. Not really surprised there. 0 man, first time chatter coming in. W's. Did we already go over the Spurs? We did talk about that game. I just think the Spurs are too easy of a play, it's looking like, but you won't see me on the other side. So I will be sitting that one out with a Wemby more than points square in my pocket. Tailing that from TMA. Okay? Thunder was always a Thunder, Jovan. And you know what? Like you said, when you're taking goats, got no problems putting that puppy in there for the squad rides because you don't do that very often, right? Sure. All right. Turner Mac always rocking the Bookit hat. Love to see it. W's. It helps when you're sweating bets. Keeps the sweat off the eyes. All right. Go buy a Bookit hat. Stick around for the Surge stream starting up right after this chat. Get involved. Okay. We'll catch you guys tomorrow. Same time, same place.